You might think you're looking at a review for a fictional Call of Duty game, but what this really is a eulogy. It's a warning shot from a reviewer in Japan suggesting that the single-player campaigns we've all grown up loving might just be on their last legs. Okay, so to really get what's at stake here, you kind of have to wrap your head around this series' timeline, which is, let's be honest, famously complicated. This fictional Black Ops 7 wedges itself right in between the events of Black Ops 2 and 3, fitting into a story that's already incredibly dense. This isn't just another shooter, right? For the hardcore fans, this is a saga. And that story, well, it means everything. So what we're going to do is walk through this review step by step, following the reviewer's own emotional roller coaster. We'll start with a huge excitement, then get into the gameplay that actually works, before hitting the crushing disappointment with the story, and finally, land on their pretty bleak prediction for the future of single-player games as a whole. All right, so on paper, the setup for Black Ops 7 sounded like a dream come true. It brought back David Mason, a huge fan favorite from Black Ops 2, leading a new team in the year 2035. But the real hype, the thing that got everyone talking, wasn't just about who was in it, it was about a feature fans had been screaming for. Yep, that's right. For the first time in a decade, since Black Ops 3, we're talking a full-on, story-driven co-op campaign. I mean, people have been begging for this for years. The chance to experience those epic Call of Duty moments with their friends. The anticipation was off the charts. And here's the crazy part. The review makes it super clear that when you actually pick up the controller and play, the game is an absolute blast. On a pure moment-to-moment level, the action is exactly the kind of top-tier, polished experience you'd expect. The reviewer just gushes about the core mechanics. The movement feels amazing. You've got these cool tools like wingsuits and grappling hooks. Everything's just clearer. The weapon descriptions, the kill streaks, you know what you're getting. And even the enemies are more diverse, forcing you to actually think about your approach. Mechanically, it's just fantastic. And wow, does this game look good. The technical side of things is firing on all cylinders. The graphics are stunning, the character models are ridiculously detailed, and this new city, Avalon, is just gorgeous. They even mentioned this new endgame mode, which sounds pretty cool for anyone who wants to keep playing solo after the credits roll. So, on the surface, everything seems perfect. So that's the big question, right? If the game looks this good and plays this well, what's the problem? Why did the reviewer come away from it all feeling so disappointed? Well, the problem, according to them, isn't in the gameplay at all. It's in the heart of the experience, the story. A story that they feel was completely broken by the one feature everyone was so hyped about: co-op. And this is where they really nail the issue. Look, the Black Ops series always had these psychological twists, right? But it was always just a flavor, like a spice added to a grounded military thriller. With this game, though, it's like the spice became the whole meal. The entire plot is about mass hallucinations, and for this reviewer, that just rips the soul right out of the series. And you can just feel the disappointment in this quote. They went in expecting this gritty drama, and instead, they got a fantasy story where, anything goes because nothing feels real. The stakes just completely vanish. And making that one choice to go all in on co-op, well, it had this massive domino effect. Suddenly, the story has to be generic and cliché so players can drop in and out. The missions all boil down to the same repetitive loop. Shoot some guys, push a button, move on. You get these bizarre fantasy-style bosses that feel totally out of place. The reviewer even points out that basic stuff like mission checkpoints are gone, all sacrificed on the altar of a multiplayer-first campaign. Now, the reviewer doesn't think these are just, bad creative choices. No, they argue this is a calculated business decision. It's all about following the money. And they lay out this really brutal four-step theory for how it all goes down. First, you bring in co-op. Second, you have to dumb down the story to make it work for drop-in play. Third, that co-op space becomes the perfect place to start selling cosmetics, operators, skins, the whole deal. And what's the casualty in all this? The single-player artistic vision. It just can't survive. And if you're looking for evidence, they say it's already in the game. That endgame mode, apparently some of the characters for it are already locked behind a paywall in the more expensive version of the game. For the reviewer, this is the smoking gun. This is just the beginning. So you take all of that, the watered-down story, the monetization creeping in, this feeling that the whole thing has been hollowed out. and it leads the reviewer to one last really sobering verdict. And here it is. This is the eulogy. The final judgment isn't that the game is bad. It's that the entire idea of Call of Duty as this premium, story-driven, single-player epic is dead. Its natural life is over, and whatever this new thing is, it's something else entirely. So, in the end, this review of a fictional game forces us to ask a very real and, honestly, a pretty uncomfortable question. As more and more games go this route, is this the future? Is a good enough, disposable story the price we now have to pay to play with our friends? It really makes you stop and think about what we, as players, value the most.